Hello and welcome to the first ever Dev Diary from Streamr. Today we have Eric and Juuso joining us for the call. They're going to give us a little bit of an overview of the new Streamr 1.0 release, where we at, what the current status is, and basically give you guys an overview. Shall we just jump into the first question after I gave a short overview of why this is so big and why Streamr 1.0 is so cool?
Sure.
So basically, for the guys that haven't known Streamr or haven't heard of Streamr before, what we do is we do basically decentralized data infrastructure. So sending data from A to B in a decentralized manner. And these guys will give you a better overview in a minute, but basically this is it in a nutshell. And we've been working for 5 years now on this 1.0 release because building this infrastructure, this data network, has been a lot of work, and it's been very hard to build this decentralized, build it secure. And these are it's very hard to build something like this decentralized and secure. So let's jump in with the first question. And it's basically, if you guys could maybe provide us with an overview of the Streamr Network's 1.0 release. It's also known as the Tatum milestone for people that do know Streamr, and its significance for the project. Whoever wants to go.
Which of it should it be? Maybe I can start to give my view. So my view is that it's about achieving the full decentralization as discussed in the white paper. So basically achieving the goal that the white paper set out to do. And it involves two aspects. Firstly, there's work on kind of the tokenomics and the incentivization layer, and implementing that, which means that we're incentivizing minor nodes to act as data brokers in the network. And of course, we've had this before, but we've done it in an inflationary manner where we create tokens and give them out and paying that way. But in this model, then actually we create a marketplace for data brokerage. So anyone wishing to subscribe to data, they can actually use Streamr data coin, and then they can pay for this kind of rented capacity, data capacity for their streams. So that's the first thing. The second thing is there's changes to the lower network layer where this becomes more decentralized. So we've opted to go for a trackerless model. Thus far, we've had trackers that we've run ourselves, and they've been a sort of a crutch to help us go forward towards the goal of the white paper. But of course, they act as a central point, which is not in the spirit of a decentralized technology. So getting rid of those, we get rid of central points that could act as failure points or censorship points. So those are the two ways that we are going towards that release.
Nice answer. I want to go deeper into that DHT and how we do this differently now a little later as well, because I think that's super interesting how you guys did that. But first, maybe how does the Tatum milestone align with the long-term roadmap and vision of the Streamr Network? How would you describe that? What have we been building on all the time now, and where are we now? What's the status?
Well, firstly, we've been building many things. The Streamr Network, of course, is the core and the infrastructural technology, but then, of course, that alone will not make anyone happy if it doesn't find its use cases. And then, on the other hand, we've been building the marketplace and the data unions and all that thing, helping other projects get started with using the Streamr Network and so on and so forth. So I'm not so sure about the long-term roadmap per se, but of course, in the spirit of the white paper, the long-term roadmap is decentralization and autonomously running Streamr Network, meaning it, on the one hand, like Eric mentioned, it's the tokenomics provide for this capacity renting option, and then on the other hand, that the peer-to-peer network is enough for providing the whole Streamr promise, which is this pub/sub network where anyone can join and subscribe to a data stream and start receiving data, and that magically happens without an Amazon or Google in the middle.
Good answer. Yeah. Yeah. Decentralization is the key word here, right? It's like the key thing we want to achieve and make it work. Eric mentioned the DHT, right? So we have, before that, maybe you guys can just briefly explain how we had it before and how it is now with the DHT, like with the layers and everything. Ideally, if you could you explain it with an example, for example, I don't know, with a chat app, for example?
So basically before we're in this current version still for now, we have the trackers, and the trackers basically facilitate connections between nodes. So they make it possible for nodes to connect to each other, as well as they create the connections between the nodes, which form the kind of network and the basis on which messages get flooded in the network. So that's been the solution right now. We have a list of IP addresses that are the connection details for connecting to the trackers, but the nodes can be, for example, behind firewalls and are able to connect to each other thanks to these trackers. But then, yeah, part of the network team, Santeri and Petri, have been exploring this, more than exploring, developing, and currently finalizing basically the version that works without trackers, and it's based on the DHTs. So there's like a multi-layered structure upon how it works. So there's this first layer of the DHT where basically every node exists on that layer, and we can use this layer to connect to nodes on the second layer, or layer 1 as we call it, which is all those nodes that belong to a specific stream. And then on this layer, we form the kind of same connections as the tracker used to do, so we can get peer-to-peer connections that are used to disseminate or propagate the actual data payloads that the users are interested in. In a chat app, yeah, you had a stream, for example, a chat room as a stream. We usually use the term topic in like pub/sub literature, but we use stream anyway. So you'd have one of those. It connected to this tracker. So there's like a IP address. It would go there, and then it would find the other, like, for example, browsers or dedicated servers that are running or also belong to this same chat room. But now we don't need that tracker there. So it's more resilient. For example, if this tracker was to go down, or someone would be malicious and attempt to attack it, or this tracker is compromised and it tries to prevent certain nodes from connecting or maybe knowing about each other. So that's the kind of benefit there.
Okay. So just to summarize it, if I understood it. So basically we have, let's say we three are in a chat room all over the world. Let's say I'm in Australia, you guys are, one of you is in Germany, one of you is in Finland, right? So we're like all over the world. And now we want to chat with each other. And this DHT kind of keeps track of our, let's say, phones. Like we have a phone on, and there's a browser, and there's our node is running in there. And now we have this DHT, and so all of our devices are seeing where our nodes are. Is that correct? So I know, okay, I can send a message to Juuso, and then Juuso maybe can send then a message to Eric, and then it could be a bigger network.
Yeah, we can find each other and connect to each other in a decentralized way, and that's the big difference there.
Right, okay.
Whereas then before, you had a server somewhere where we would phone in there and we would find each other, but that's the kind of central point that we got rid of.
Right.
Now it's like we join this huge network of all people who are chatting, and we use that to find each other, and then we find each other, and then we can discuss this chat room together.
Yeah, that's great. And then I'm curious how that works with the authentication as well. If does the DHT keep track of that too, or is that like on a smart contract? How would that work?
Yeah, authentication basically stays the same as it's now been. So that's done on the higher level. At the network level, we don't do that. There's the Streamr client package, which I guess is now going to be renamed to Streamr SDK. And it's up to each node to validate these messages and check permissions. And these permissions are stored on the Polygon chain. So yeah, more or less the same solution there.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Cool.
Maybe a good thing to add that the DHT is short for distributed hash table for anyone who wants to Google for it. And distributed hash tables basically mean that you can have key value stored that is nowhere in particular, but in the peer-to-peer network. So you can store data into the peer-to-peer network with DHT.
Yeah.
And so we have this, and this is enhancing our decentralization. But I don't remember who, but one of you guys also mentioned the tokenomics, so the decentralized reward mechanism, which is new. Does one of you guys want to give a little bit more information about that one?
I can give a short tokenomics overview. So the tokenomics is there to, on the one hand, incentivize providing bandwidth, providing this brokering service or operating these Streamr nodes. And these Streamr node operators, how are they incentivized? They're incentivized with the tokens that are paid by those who want premium service. So the sort of best effort service will always be available in the network by all the nodes who participate in these streams, relaying these streams. However, to incentivize nodes and the operators to actually start relaying particular streams, the stream beneficiaries or owners or those who have the interest, those who have their own best interest in having that stream reliable and fast, they can sponsor those streams. So they would create sponsorship contracts where the operators can stake. So they will stake data token. And why do they stake? They stake so that they can be slashed if they misbehave, yes. But also that stake will determine what part of the sponsorship goes to them. So basically an operator that stakes 10 times what another operator stakes will then earn 10 times the reward. So there is also this sort of yield mechanism in play. And there's another layer as well. So this tokenomics system is one of these things that have been simmered slowly over all these years. We've been working together with Block Science, a US-based team, who also help other projects, other major projects, such as the Graph, with their tokenomics, with the help of simulations and modeling, tokenomics modeling. And so there has been many years, in fact, of work that is now culminating into this 1.0 release. And the other layer of staking or tokenomics there is that the operators themselves can be delegated to. Delegating here is different from staking in that a delegator cannot be slashed. A delegator simply signals that they believe in this operator. And a delegator will then share in the earnings earned by that operator from the sponsorships. So basically an operator runs nodes, stakes into these sponsorships, and those sponsorships pay earnings to this operator. Then the delegators who have data token, they can delegate some of that data token to the operator, also so that the operator has more data token to stake into these sponsorships. So in that sense, the delegators provide the operator with capital, and there is the capital markets idea that as much capital as the operator can gainfully employ by running nodes and staking the sponsorships is, I mean, it's limited by how many data tokens they have, and they now don't need to start buying the data token from the market to employ all of their brokering capacity or this operator capacity. Instead, delegators can provide them with data tokens, and then they will receive a share of the earnings. So this kind of two-layered system where operators gain tokens from those who want premium service, and then those who believe in an operator, they can provide the operator with working capital to employ all the nodes in these sponsorship contracts. I can try to say that faster or more condensed as well.
Sure, if you want to summarize it in a few sentences as well.
So
if we lost some people here.
Right, yeah, no, I can try. So the Streamr 1.0 tokenomics have been developed over all these many years, and they boil down to those stream owners or other stream stakeholders paying for premium service by creating sponsorship contracts. And then the operators staking data token into those sponsorship contracts to earn part of this sponsorship. So those earnings go to the operator. And then as a second layer, data token holders can provide these operators with the working capital, with the data tokens to stake into these sponsorships and earn part of the earnings or earn a yield from the operator's work.
Yeah, I guess basically for anyone sitting on a stack of data tokens and wanting to put their tokens to work, there's two paths. Either you run a miner, you became an operator, and you get yield that way and play active role, or then you can also be a delegator and not be a bit more like a passive role and just signal. So two options there.
Yeah, signal trust in specific operators.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say I'm a miner, I'm a node runner right now. I'm running a node and I stake some data. What does anything change for me with the 1.0 release? What are the kind of key things then that would change? Just like in two sentences.
At least what would change is that now you can take in more data tokens from these delegators. So that's a change. You can actually become a professional operator and grow your stake beyond those tokens that you have.
Yeah, basically marketplace opens up, so there's more choices also as an operator, like which kind of sponsorships do I want to take, what kind of risk reward portfolios or trade-offs are there, and how much do I think like I can handle, like how ready am I, what kind of machines am I running, what kind of bandwidth do they have, how much do I want to look after my miner nodes. So I think there's more activity there, which I think is interesting for many people running these.
All right, sounds exciting times for miners, definitely. Okay, we've been talking about these changes now, right? Have there been any major obstacles or anything where you were like, oh, that was like specifically very hard to overcome and that was really hard to solve, or that has been hard to solve? I know I'm putting you on the spot right now, but maybe you can think of something.
From the smart contract side, I would say that since the planning and specification has been very thorough, we've basically been implementing things that have already been, well, simulated or at least fairly well thought out. So we haven't backtracked much in the way of the smart contracts.
Right. Eric, sorry.
Yeah, on my side, firstly, the tokenomics and how all of this will work. We've spent countless hours in basically workshops planning this and arriving into like dead ends, having to backtrack and look at it again and like trying to find a model that we know that would work, that wouldn't have any inherent flaws in it. So it is a difficult problem to solve because, yeah, basically we need to detect whether like all of the kind of operators nodes are doing their job and are actually forwarding and propagating, disseminating this data and not just claiming to do so. It's a inherently difficult problem to solve. Proof of delivery, except we can really never know as an outsider what happened between these two other nodes and we were not involved in it. So yeah, there's that difficulty. Specifically on the network side, yeah, basically we've had a lot of like work done there with existing clients, like our users, to get them up to speed to our latest versions of the Streamr Network. It has all been in development for a long time, basically because we've had this philosophy that we always want to have something working and provide something to our users, which means that when we do upgrading, when we move towards decentralization, there will always be a bit of a friction points, and we have to help out our users to help them get to the next kind of version of the product, wherever it is. So of course, that takes some resources in itself. And yeah, the trackerless network in itself will be a kind of a big change on the code front. So there's some stuff still there to sort out, but I think we will get there.
Yeah. I heard, this is what I learned with Streamr as well when I started with you guys, is that you really value quality over just build something very quickly and then push it out. It's more like we want to make sure everything works properly. We want like a really good product that people can actually use. And what often is, it's like let's just build something very quickly, put it out on Twitter, and then
Well,
like
I mean, on the point of challenges and obstacles, I would say Streamr is still very early. That's a challenge. And we were definitely very early in 2018 when we launched the marketplace. Marketplace did not get traction simply because not only didn't the real-time data streams market necessarily, it hadn't matured enough, but then add on top the decentralized part. So decentralization is still a hard sell, and it's going to be a hard sell in the traditional industries for years still. We are still early. And that is a challenge. That is a challenge for any project that has a runway. And of course, we were lucky to ICO in a fortunate spot to get a runway long enough to take us here, and hopefully take us, well, many years to future as well. I think that's not really a specific challenge of the Tatum development or even Streamr. It's probably a challenge for any project in Web3. And of course, it's looking up. There's more and more business every year. But coming from 2017, like we are, and now how many years? 6 years later, we are still early, and it's a paradox, right? Because everything moves so fast. Every library is legacy in half a year or whatever. Or at least at one point it felt like that with the library. So then on the other hand, world does not change that fast. People don't change that fast. So
documentation doesn't change that fast.
You can always change documentation very fast, but yeah, that's definitely a challenge to the project. And I think we can look on the bright side is that we are early, and that just means that once the market matures, then our product will be in better shape than the competition. Or so I really hope we can fulfill the expectation of high quality.
Yeah, on that front, maybe it has gone a bit unnoticed, but on the Streamr SDK side, there has been a lot of effort put onto like the developer experience improvements there. So with all the docs stuff getting updated and unified into like the common format used in many projects, and then just bringing in semantic versioning to the client, and then adding documentation to like all the methods and classes and functions and that sort of thing. So and trying to like keep the API stable so that when our users use one version and they need to upgrade to another version, a lot of things wouldn't break. And then when they break, a change log there to assist them in understanding the changes. So yeah.
Yeah, this is really a shout out to all our pilot projects and all our partners that they boldly create business where business has not existed or anything hasn't existed before.
Yeah.
So yeah, at least for my part, not just writing smart contracts, but otherwise also, yeah, we are building an infrastructural technology, and the way we see challenges and obstacles is often via the use cases of our pilot projects and partners. That's super important.
Yeah, agree.
It's really nice how we kind of try to talk to our partners as well. Yeah, you guys have been great with this, like kind of tailoring the software towards our partners and say, oh, okay, this doesn't work really well for them, so maybe we do some adjustments there so they do work. So yeah, kudos to you guys for doing that. And what are like the things that you guys are working on right now? What's going on your day-to-day tasks in the 1.0 release? We still have some months to the actual release. What are like the things you guys are working on right now?
I guess connecting the smart contracts and the tokenomics to the network. That integration work is underway now.
Yeah, the same, I guess, from like the network side, building the actual like operator plugin in the broker that users then who want to run operator like nodes, then they run this plugin. So building that and interacting with the work that the smart contract team has done and writing end-to-end tests there and getting all the stuff to work together.
Yeah, I bet the testing is a heavy lift.
Yeah, there's a lot involved actually in the smart contracts and testing them, and yeah, it's looking good. I think it will good.
Awesome. All right. Okay, I'm out of questions. Is there anything you guys want to say or not?
I think it's great if for the next Dev Diary we could get questions from the community, and yeah, and generally ideas and feedback on what features they would expect from the tokenomics or from the network.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah, I'm sure there are some questions. And it's great to have you guys as the actual developers with the day-to-day task to answer them. So yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right. Okay, Eric, were you
Alright.
going to say something?
No, I'm good.
Okay, awesome. All right. Thank you guys for joining today and answering those questions. And yeah, hopefully we get some community questions next time. Yeah. Okay. Until next time, to the next Dev Diary.
Okay.
Right, guys.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.